All right, before we start today, I got to ask you guys a question. Steve, tonight, did you have boy dinner or girl dinner?
Andre, I keep telling you I have an open mind. I just want you to tell me what either of those things are, and you won't tell me. You just keep waking me up at strange hours of the night asking me, Steven, did you have boy dinner or girl dinner? Andre, it is 3:30, and I have work in a few hours.
Well, I'd let you go if you just tell me what you had, and then I'd shut up, wouldn't I? Huh? That's very easy. Look, one cannot... it's like the Matrix. You have to be shown what girl dinner. You can't tell somebody what the Matrix is or girl dinner. You have to be, it's a vibe.
Okay, so it's boy dinner.
I'll tell you later. Let's start the show.
Step into video game land. Welcome to Fine Time.
Hello, party people. It's your boy Dre, and we're here on the Fine and the Time. And now that we have a set announcer, I don't have to say we're in video game land anymore because we are always in video game land.
No!
Too bad, Steve. We're in video game land. Did you get sucked into the TV, Captain N style?
Let me,
You will stay in there forever with sassy Mother Brain voice. Is it just me, or did Mother Brain have a really sassy voice in that show?
Wasn't she just doing the plant from Little Shop?
Never seen it. Kevin, have you ever seen Little Shop, whatever that is?
I don't know. I don't know what Little Shop is. I have heard the Mother Brain voice. I feel if you were Mother Brain, you would be sassy too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm the queen of Zebes. Of course I would be sassy.
Mm-hmm. And just your body just looks like shit. So yeah. There's that.
Oh, man.
Mother Brain is not getting laid.
I know he already looks like this in artwork anyway, but I feel like in that show they basically just made Simon Belmont He-Man. Isn't he basically just He-Man?
He-Man with a whip, yes.
Yeah.
And everything else you need for a good boy dinner.
As opposed to a bad boy dinner?
Well, it depends on how bad you want it.
like bad or like bad?
Depends on how much intensity you want for your boy dinner.
Let's talk video games instead of intense boy dinner. Okay. Full disclosure up top. I'm sorry, everybody. Me and Steve both played Mega Man in varying capacities, so we're going to talk about them. However, I'm going to get the feeling here up front that Steve is much less happy about his selection than mine.
You might be pleasantly surprised by the time we're done, because in a saga that began early on in the show, I played Mega Man X Legacy 2, and now, however much time has passed, I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm in the middle of Pikmin 4 right now. I'm not like you Barbenheimer people who decided, you know what, let's watch the 2 movies and play through all Pikmin 4 in a day. What's wrong with you people at home? Why can't you just enjoy the video game that took a decade to come out? Did you even look at the game, how pretty it is? Anyway.
I can almost assure you no real person has beaten Pikmin 4 already.
Oh, I saw way too many people with 100% whatevers.
You follow crazy people.
I don't follow them. They just appear in my timeline.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sort of like how Optical Sunflower just appears in Mega Man X8. It just feels like the right thing to do to play Mega Man X8 in between these things. And I said it these 3 other times, but I need to repeat it one more time. X and X4, 2 of the best games ever made. So I really don't know how they managed to fuck up X5 through X8 so fucking badly. And moreover for today, I don't understand why X8 is on so many people's like top 3 favorite Mega Man games lists. Because holy shit, did you see Optical Sunflower?
I can answer this question for you if you want a real answer of why it's up there.
Oh, please tell me.
because 5, 6, and 7 are so bad that people thought like, and especially after everyone was turned off by X7, me much less than other people, but we've talked about that before. X8 going back to 2D gameplay was pretty much what a lot of people wanted, because I bet you a lot of the people who think X8 is good also like X5, which is like atrocious. Like, you know, I think they're just accepting of it as long as it's 2D and Mega Man.
Because I really don't feel like that works either. Yes, the 3D is gone, thank God. But they hired middle schools to paint the backgrounds for the blandest looking levels the PS2 could muster.
60 frames a second at all costs, baby.
for the very bland looking backgrounds. And high schoolers to do the robot models and all the enemies too. I mean, if only there was some sort of cell shading style they could have used to make the game look more beautiful. But as far as I know, Capcom doesn't have access to that kind of technology in 2004. So I guess we're kind of stuck.
I feel like it's cell shaded to some degree. There's none at all? I don't remember.
If it's there, you gotta squint, because I don't know. You know what does still exist? Axel, and he still sucks. I couldn't imagine anyone using him past the forced intro where they're like, hey, it's me, I'm Axel, Sonic the Hedgehog's best friend. Because you see, guys at home, there's a gimmicky buddy system where you have to use 2 at a time with using a buddy system where you tag between 2 out of 3 on the fly. And I just don't see any reason why you wouldn't use X and Zero. I mean, there's no other character you'd ever want to use. Why use Axel at all?
I like Axel.
You used him on purpose?
Yeah. Is that a hot take? I don't know.
Yes.
He's fine. Is it really? I guess.
What does he do? He stands still and shoots a whole lot of bullets at once.
What's wrong with that?
Why bother?
I don't know what the problem is. I don't know. Fine, I guess. I mean, sure, is X better? Sure, especially if you get to level him up to the right capacity, right? I guess he could eventually end up better, but
I don't know. The game's just not fun to play anyway. You got hitboxes that are too big or too small. There's optical sunflower, level design that makes me question all my life choices to this point. Music that makes it sound like they got it from the Sounds of Mega Man public domain CD. Optical sunflower.
Okay. Come on. The music, did you really thought the music was that bad? You never have anything to say about music, but you're going to dunk on this?
Yes, because from like X5 on, the music has been incredibly forgettable.
Oh, no.
Except for when they borrowed from X1 through 4.
I think X6 and 7 have great music, especially 7. I think 7's music is pretty top notch.
Yeah, but then you have to play X7.
But it's good.
Okay, but that doesn't get rid of the voice samples that persist, even when I turn off the voice assistants for all the levels.
Hello, X? Hello, Zero? Axel, come in.
Yeah, I don't need that. I'm glad you're all having a good time. And I feel like any one of these reasons would be good to not like the game, and all of you like it anyway, and some of you like to eat Taco Bell on purpose. To each their own. But there is one redeeming quality for X8. You want to know what that is? I finally got to delete X Collection 2 off my Switch. It freed 5-point-something gigs of memory for literally anything else. Both sets are routinely $8. Everyone should buy the first one. The second should be sent on a broken elevator to the moon. I was paying attention to the story.
That last boss came out of he was like anime villain of the week. I don't even remember that guy's name.
Oh, I just played the game last week and I forgot his name.
Yeah. What was that? You do go to the moon though, for some reason.
Yeah, they built an elevator.
I don't know why you can't just teleport to the whatever. This game doesn't make any sense.
Steve, can you enlighten those not in the know what optical sunflower is? Because it seems like it's a point of contention.
It's the dumbest boss they ever came up with. in a series that's known for just making dumb ass bosses after vague men and plants and animals this entire time, and they just made optical sunflower.
I think that's a lot better than like anything in X5 or 6. Like, remember Metal Shark Player or like Duff McWhalen? I forget what they renamed it in X5 where it's not like a Guns N' Roses name.
Andre, this whole experience was so bad that I know you don't like X3, but I would rather, gun to my head, I'd rather sit down and play X3 4 times in a row than ever pick up X Legacy 2 ever again.
Oh, X3 is way better than any of those. I mean, I'll give it that for sure. But, what is that saying?
I don't know. Take your $8 and spend it on not Legacy 2, kids.
Oh, I spent a lot more than that.
Me too, as I said.
You remember when they first announced these they're going to be 2 collections, and all of us went, they can't do 1 through 4, then 5 through 8, because that would be the worst collection of all fucking time. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. I still can't believe they did it. But hey, our fucking clown asses bought it, right? So what do we know?
I mean, and on Switch, it was even more poetic because they stuck the first one on a game card and made you download the second one. They knew what they were doing. You could keep the good games on a game card forever. The rest of them are garbage. You can just delete those, and no one will care if you miss them.
I mean, yeah, it's amazing. Well, here's the thing. I played X8 when it came out. Not like day one, but shortly thereafter. I liked it just fine at the time. So there must have been something in the air there. Hey, this isn't as bad as all the others. Right? So I feel like I was doing the same thing at the time. Because when I play it now, I was like, oh, okay, well, at least there's X8, which is decent. No, it was not decent. It was way worse than I remembered.
Well, like I said, when I first played X5 on GameCube, it didn't feel as bad as it did now, but I guess that's the other good thing about this whole set. It did not explode my Switch. I did all of X Legacy 2, and it did not explode my Switch.
Yet, that you know of. Can you see it from here? Can you see it right now?
Yeah, it looks fine to me.
Okay. All right. Well, I also played Mega Man, but drastically different. I've been playing the Mega Man Battle Network collection. I am almost done with Battle Network 3. So I'm about halfway through the series of 6. And, these really hold up. That battle system has really never been duplicated. I guess to explain it to anybody who's never seen it, think of it you could say it's like a strategy game, but real time. You move on a grid. It's a 3x3 grid. And if anyone has listened to our Live post game show, and thank you if you have, I basically called Live shitty Battle Network. So if you ever played that game out there and you didn't care for it, I feel like this is that, but good. Just, I don't know, just a few things to just round up. I feel like it's not really useful to talk about each game. They hold up for the most part. But before you start the collection, Steve, it has that, what we like to call the Warner Brothers warning.
Oh, no.
It says, and I'll read it verbatim, Capcom values diversity and inclusivity within its games and its community. Please be aware that the games in this collection may contain some cases of insensitive cultural depictions that are presented as originally creative to preserve their authenticity. And, okay, fine, right? It was 20 years ago. We're more evolved now. I didn't really see anything problematic in the first game. The second game, oh, baby. There's some depictions of black people that are just not okay. I don't know how else to say it. Oof. Even okay, I didn't play 2 at the time, but honestly, if I had saw this at the time, I might have been kind of cringed out then. Oh no.
This is where I admit I've only played the first one all the way through. Did they change any dialogue or whatever in any meaningful way, or is this just the translation as we knew it 20-ish years ago?
Exact same translation, typos and all. Instead of Lord Chod, it says Load Chod, and all that shit, Kevin.
Yeah, this, I don't know, the way you're describing it sounds like it's definitely bad enough. They very well should have known better by the early 2000s.
They probably should have, but Japanese. They're not really, they may or may not at that time have been sensitive to other countries, cultural depictions. We saw an example of this in before Super Smash Brothers Ultimate came out. Remember, Game & Watch still had the Native Americans, and they had a day one patch to get rid of that, as well as improve some other things. But that was part of the day one patch. I think sometimes Japan just doesn't think about this stuff, and sometimes why would they, right? Because
it's just not on the radar.
Yeah, it's just not on the radar. Whereas for us, we might be like, oh no. And the problem is the reason why these translations are so bad, and most early 2000s Capcom games are translated really badly, Steve, as you played through those X collection games, as we just talked about, X5, X6, the translation falls off a cliff from X4, as I'm sure you've noticed.
Capcom translation was real bad for a long time. I mean, just look at Breath of Fire. I mean, I still like to point out the fishing rod at every opportunity.
Yeah. Yep. It's just, but yeah, Breath of Fire 2 is even worse. But no, yeah, this game deserves that label on it. Again, is it so bad they shouldn't release it or something? No, of course not. But obviously, it could have been better. If you play the game, you'll see what I'm talking about. Steve, do you think it's funny in retrospect that Battle Network was accepted right away when Mega Man Legends was not? That took years. People like that game in retrospect, right? But we accepted okay, sure, Battle Network.
I thought that was weird because I haven't played Legends 2. The only one I played all the way through was one on N64, is Mega Man 64, and I liked it a lot. But
I never played that version. I only played PS1.
I liked it a lot, but I thought, no, Mega Man can't be a treasure hunter. But you know what? Sure, Mega Man is your virtual pet who lives on the internet. That will play, and it's an RPG now.
Who's the spirit of your dead brother, twin brother, of course, for whatever reason. Put into the computerized land, because shonen anime, of course, he has to be your brother. I think one of the cool things about Mega Man Battle Network is seeing the robot redesigns, because a lot of favorites are here. You see Magnet Man and Metal Man and Bubble Man and shit like that, right? But they're obviously radically redesigned, and it's really fun to see those takes on those classic robots, I guess.
I don't know how I felt about that in 2001, but now I get it. You can't necessarily just cycle in the same art if you're going for a whole aesthetic and change.
Yeah, they obviously have to fit the new aesthetic.
I play Fire Emblem Heroes on my phone. Yeah, I know. Steve plays games on his phone. But for a long time before they,
nobody ever.
but before very early on in the game, they still do a good chunk of the time. They just, oh shit, we're putting this character in the game. What's the best official portrait we got? It's from 1994. Fuck it, slap it in, and it just stands out dramatically different from.
Well, this is the company that still used when they put Morrigan in Capcom versus SNK, they just used her straight up Darkstalker sprite, exactly. So it was so mismatched, but Ryu and Ken and Sagat and a few others had totally new sprites fighting Alpha 3 Dulcim or something. It was really strange. At the time I didn't really care, but looking back on it, it's kind of very oil and water. Anyway, Mega Man is known for having banger tunes, as we just discussed, in any of their series. People don't really go to people don't really go to Battle Network for this. What, Kevin? What's so funny?
Oh, no, I'm just laughing because Steve gave you a look when you said that.
Oh, well, see, he likes to act like he doesn't shoot me looks, but he does. I called him out on it.
No, there's a look on that one for sure.
I'm just saying, you just said people don't go to Battle Network for tunes. I'm like, you put me in the penalty box for less, Andre.
Okay, I wasn't trying to make a pun. I just had a stroke. I didn't mean to say it that way.
Okay. I see how it is. Playing the stroke card, not even a
Now
half
I
hour
have
in.
I have to leave that in so people know what we're talking about. Now I have to embarrass myself. So thank you. Anyway, Battle Network has great music, especially in what you could consider the dungeons of the game. Those always slap. Even just the stuff walking around town and just the general like internet area and stuff, always really good stuff. 3 has the best music yet. I'm very much looking forward to hearing 4, 5, and 6 when I get there. However, I'm a little bit sad because these collections are Game Boy Advance based. And as everyone, or not everyone, as crazy people like me knows, there is a DS version of 5 called Mega Man Battle Network 5 Double Team DS, which is one of the most ridiculous names of all time. Anyway, that DS version has like vastly improved music, and obviously it's not the version that we're going to get here, which, you know, kind of sucks, but whatever. There's a lot of game here if you really want to max these out. If you've never played a Battle Network, if you really like that sort of collecting all the like battle chips, almost like Pokemon and stuff. Back in the day when I had the first game, I did that. You know, like there's a lot of game, and I spent like 60, 70 hours doing it. It was fun. So if you really want to max out every game that way, you can. I'm just kind of playing it for story and moving on because I just don't have that kind of time anymore. And also I've had that experience before. I did in the first game, and that's enough for me. But yeah, Battle Network, having a lot of fun. I'm really glad they hold up. One more thing I want to talk about real quick is a little thing called Zero Fire, or Toaplan Game Garage Zero Fire. It's the third in the Toaplan series. M2 has been putting these out in pairs. And they always have a cute little pun. The first one was called Q Kyoku Tiger Heli, which has Q Kyoku Tiger and Tiger Heli. So they just put them together. So they always do that. So this third one, Zero Fire, has Zero Wing and Hellfire. Zero Fire, haha, right? These are 2 really good shmups on their own. If you just buy it, you get the 2 arcade versions, and that's it, of Zero Wing and Hellfire. If you get the DLC, you get all the home versions of Zero Wing and Hellfire, which is really where it's at, because this shit's incredible. Obviously, the Genesis version of Zero Wing is very famous for them adding an intro that has some of the most repeated lines of Internet Hall of Fame, including "All your base are belong to us," and, you know, "You are on the path of destruction," "Somebody set us up the bomb," you know, whatever. Like, all that comes from that Genesis version of Zero Wing. The arcade version doesn't have that. So it's just they added that for the home version. However, you don't need to buy this collection to play that. You can play Zero Wing right now on Sega Genesis, Nintendo Switch Online. So, you know, I'm not saying go out and buy that for a few funny lines, but it's here. What I didn't know before I bought this, though, is that there are PC Engine CD versions of Zero Wing and Hellfire, which are incredible. Anyone who's listened to the show for like 5 seconds knows how much I love CD-ROM shmups from the early 90s. I mean, you want to talk about something that is completely my shit, and it has the whole bit. It has the vastly remixed CD quality music. It has intros and voices and anime and all that shit to go along with, you know, the game. And you know how it is. Arcade games are really hard. When they bring them home, they're a lot easier because they don't have to take all your quarters anymore. They have your money, right? Because you bought the game. So they don't need to fuck you. And I prefer playing those home versions. It's not that there's anything wrong with playing the arcade versions. I like that too, but it's great. But also, another great thing about the DLCs in every Toaplan Game Garage is that they always pair the shmups together in each of these collections, but the DLC always includes a game that isn't a shmup. While Toaplan mostly made shmups, they made other things too. Snow Brothers, Snow Bros, if anyone's ever heard of that, probably their most famous game. That's not a shmup. This DLC package includes Horror Story, or Demon's World, if you will. Might be my favorite Toaplan game, period. This was the thing I was really after. And yes, this also has a PC Engine CD-ROM version. Incredible shit. If you don't know what this is, it's a slow-moving run and gun. It's auto-scrolling, rather. and it's great. It's great. As the name implies, horror story or demon's world, if you want. You just go through various countries. When you're in the Asian worlds, you have like yokai and like, like Asian style demons. When you get to like the Western town, you have ghosts wearing Western hats for some reason. I don't know why they're wearing hats, but like very Ghostbusters-y looking monsters, right? There's some things that look like fake Slimer because you get away with that in 1989. It's a lot of fun. I hope this comes here. We might talk about that a little bit later, hint, hint. But for now, it's just an import on the Nintendo eShop, or I guess you could get like a PS4 disc if you really feel like it. But I've been having a lot of fun playing Zero Fire.
That was the most Andre segment ever. when you talk about like generally shmups, I feel like your essence just pours out.
They make me so happy. I hope it comes through this microphone how happy this collection makes me. Like, it's just incredible. PC Engine CD-ROM versions of all 3 fucking games. Like, get out of here, Kevin. Get the fuck out of here.
I think the audience is getting a peek right into your soul.
Yeah. This is me, baby. I feel like Steve wants to make fun of me.
What are you talking about? I'm basically you in that regard, but quieter.
Well, we're doing a podcast where you should maybe talk to me.
Yeah, I know, but I hadn't played it yet, so I'm like, hey, sounds good, Andre. Woo!
Wow, real supportive. Okay, one last thing.
Yeah, you guys shut up. You guys. Oh, sorry. Okay, if there's one last, I thought you were transitioning to me. I was going to tell you shut the fuck up. If you actually have one last thing, you cannot shut.
The one last thing was actually going to be you. So you can tell me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Kevin, what the hell did you play,
guys? Jesus, why are you still talking?
I'm done.
Okay,
Sorry.
Well, you know what I've been playing. I've mostly still been picking away at Final Fantasy 16, which we talked about last shows. So that's not of a lot of value, but. My good friend Andre sent me a closed beta code for the Crew Motorfest, which I played a bit last weekend. And when we talked about fake E3, I think I was pretty judgmental about the Crew Motorfest because of the striking Horizon similarities. This doesn't like diffuse as you start playing, especially like the mannerisms of the characters, the way they talk. There's that. I don't know, just borderline insincere, like excitement for all of the stuff that's going on.
Yes,
that's very Forza Horizon.
Yep.
So you know what? Overall, I had fun with the time I spent with this. The most unfortunate thing, to be honest, I didn't think the driving feels as good as Horizon. So that's the one thing that they really like. If they were going to match it, they should have done that. They're both very arcadey, but I feel with the Crew, it was just a little maybe sloppier or easier to just kind of looser. How did you like the driving when you played this, Andre?
It varied wildly from race to race and car to car, because like how they do that intro, right, which is like a big ass PS5 flex, like, oh, we're gonna put you in these like different races all around the world like instantly, and I know this game has a PS4 version. I have no idea how they do that. They probably don't, do they? I think they would probably have to skip that anyway. The Tokyo level, where you're doing like the drifting, obviously Tokyo Drift, haha, that did not feel great to me. That felt like shitty, like Metropolis Street Racer or Project Gotham or something. It just didn't feel right. But then as I got into like the F1 cars, that felt great. And the Jeeps felt pretty good too. They were a little slip slidey, but that's kind of how they control, because it's kind of rally racy. So it really it was wildly varying depending on the vehicle, I guess. It was weird, but.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's some nuance to each vehicle and what the kinds of vehicles you're using. But I think overall, especially in that sequence, like nothing felt quite as tight as I wanted to. I am going to give some kudos to this game. I really like the idea. So what they've done, rather than, Horizon always done like one very large open world, and that's always turned out great. This is doing multiple smaller, more curated open world areas that kind of have their own distinctive environments rather than just one large area. And I really like that idea, just especially I think because they're trying this as a new sub IP. That's a good way to get it kicked off and be able to give some variance to it. I did have some issues with how the camera and some of the environmental assets work, especially the trees. Like when you're driving through the bush on this, it just seems like, and of course this is beta, so not to say that they won't get this ironed out a little bit better. For one, your vertical camera, you can't control vertical camera. You can like look around 360, but you can't like slightly adjust up and down. And when you're driving through all that foliage, it almost, where it's thicker, it's almost like it like builds up in front of your screen, and it's hard to see where you're going, but not like in a fun way. Did you get any of that where it was a pain in the ass, like driving through the bushes?
I didn't necessarily feel that way. No, maybe I didn't do that much off-roading. Maybe I just kind of stuck to the paths or whatever, and I didn't really get that much foliage in my face. But I don't know. I didn't particularly feel that way. I felt like the driving angle, if you will, default angle, was just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe I should have fucked around a little bit more with the angle, but I think in Horizon, which it's impossible to talk about this without being like, well, Horizon does this. It just seems like there's a little bit of a faster, like when you'll hit those trees, you'll see them like roll over to the bumper and they'll like fade out before they hit the camera a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
One thing that was great about this, the map, like the actual map in the menu you can go to, was like super good. There's there was a lot of detail. It looked great. I really like that. You got like full 360 rotation. On the flip side, the avatar editor in this is like it's worse than like the first Sims character creator. Like, it's so fucking bad. If you want to make somebody that looks like even slightly remotely like you, like, good luck. If you have brown hair, you can probably find somebody that has brown hair. That's as far as you're getting.
I didn't actually mess with it because, like, it's a beta. I'm like, they're just gonna erase my character anyway, so I didn't try to get too deep. But like, yeah, I've heard you're not the only person to say that. Oh man, this is like shitty. If you tried
to get too deep, you would not succeed. So
I think what I really appreciate about this game is that I like that every race is instanced. You go somewhere to race. You're not racing on the map, because I always think that's bad. I never like games that do that. Like pretty much every Need for Speed for the last 15 years does that. They try to make you race like right there, and it just, you can't make a compelling race course all the time out of just like city streets and stuff. That gets, like, for me, that just gets like really boring really fast for me. And like,
I wish you had the chance to play Horizon before, because I think that would like, I think it's specifically impressive how they do, man, because there's so much variance in that world, right? There's definitely not just city streets, it's not just off-road, but it seems like there's so many routes in there that were like custom designed to be utilized as tracks in like different scenarios. So like this section can be used as like part of this off-road track and like part of this rally track or whatever. I know exactly what you're saying, but I think Horizon did that right.
Okay. I'll have to,
but I'm sure not opposed to, the crew just saying, okay, we're taking you to the race. This is where it is. I think that they smartly restricted the scope in a lot of ways, that they didn't need to go like 100% whole hog on this without knowing if it would be successful, but not in ways that like greatly diminished, the scope to the end user.
Yeah, I think I just prefer a more like instance race, just because you can do, like, I was doing like the Hawaii playlist or whatever they call it. I don't know why they call it a playlist, but whatever. And like, I don't know, you're driving on the beach, then you're back on the road, then you're doing all this wild shit. Yeah, you could make an open world that has something like that, but I feel like it's a lot more compelling when you don't have to worry about it being part of the world and you just make a race course. I think that's just, That's just me. I'm not saying it can't be done the other way. I've never played a Forza Horizon, so I have no idea.
Yep.
But
That's fair.
that's about it. When we come back, we're gonna get limited ran a train on what? Who said that? Be right back.
Whoa.
Fine time, fine time, fine time.
What is your favorite fishing minigame of all time?
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
You know what? Hold on, don't, because I'm going to save that for later.
Yeah, let's save that for later.
I
should
shouldn't have even. I should have.
Let's do that.
I shouldn't have. I wish I didn't spoil it.
No, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it right now. Let's just have him tell him right now. We'll air this. Hello, everybody. We're back. What's your favorite fishing mini game of all time?
Or maybe just like video game fishing.
No, is he going to say like Super Black Bass or something like that?
No.
I think so.
I don't know. Stardew Valley's got a robust fishing economy thing going. That could be the whole game in and of itself. But I mean, so is Animal Crossing's practically a fishing game too. That's kind of cheating. Oh man, this is hard. I think it's whatever fishing mini game I'm playing at the moment.
You cheap bastard! You can't do that.
You can't walk up to me and go, "Hey, we're back, Steve. What's your favorite fishing game?" Either, you cheap bastards.
I thought maybe you were going to go for Final Fantasy 15 because Final Fantasy 15 had some
so
really good
good
fishing.
That was so good.
And in like really pretty locales.
Red Dead 2 had some good fishing too.
Mm-hmm.
I spend way too much time fishing in Red Dead 2.
Am I a basic bitch if I say Link's Awakening?
Hey,
The
that
Link's
was my
Awakening fishing was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
that was my first one, and gotta start somewhere.
I did like Final Fantasy 15s as well. A lot. I had to do it to some degree because I did platinum trophy that game, so I'm sure they made me fish. Anyway, we had, I don't know if this is a big question so much as it's not a big conference either. Limited Run Games / Embracer Group had this like little presentation.
It was specifically E3.
Oh, okay. Oh, E3 1995 or whatever they built it as.
Remember?
They really went hard on the vaporwave with that. It was pretty good. Can't imagine why another podcast would use vaporwave aesthetic. That would just be silly, guys. Right? Never do such a thing.
So silly.
Yeah, really, very silly. So I guess me and Steve are just going to present the things that we found the most interesting while Kevin giggles along. I guess is how this is going to work. So, what really caught my eye first was Rise of the Triad, which looked really good. I forget how the original game ran. It's been so long since I've actually seen that running on like a real PC or whatever, but like I'm sure I could go on GOG or whatever and still get it. But like, man, Steve, this looked hot. I really love what they've been doing with the boomer shooters lately.
Well, you're right, Andre. You can probably go on GOG right now and get this for like $1, but this one's got all the fancy whatevers we've come to expect with, the Doom re-releases on consoles, and it's going to be on consoles. And new Apogee is making this. Steve, who the fuck is Apogee? Well, Apogee made Commander Keen and Duke Nukem back in the day before becoming 3D Realms, and now there's a new company, the new Apogee, that's making this, and none of that matters because they're both under that Embracer hugging umbrella now.
Everybody embrace Apogee, 3D Realms, Rise of the Triad, Way Forward. Everybody embrace the Embracer Group. Okay, so I mentioned, as Kevin mentioned, that I said in very glowing terms. I glowed while I was talking about Toaplan Game Garage Zero Fire earlier. Well, guess what? Kyoku Tiger Heli, which I mentioned earlier, is coming here to America. That's kind of wild. Now, I never really thought much about these coming here just because, I'm a crazy person. I'm just going to go on the eShop and download them with my several, thousands of yens cards that I buy. But yeah, Steve, I mean, I don't know. I know you're when it comes to the Toaplan stuff, you're kind of a Truxton truther. So do you even care about this? Or, I mean, I don't.
No, I do. And I've been meaning to buy a Play Asia gift card to get this, among other things, but now it looks like I don't have to. We'll see. You know me, I have way too much to jump on everything right away. It's a big problem, Andre.
I can't possibly play a shmup for a few credits right now when I have Pikmin 4 on my plate.
I only have so many quarters, Andre.
They're re-releasing Clock Tower. Somehow Way Forward is involved with this. Maybe they're just the ones doing the strict porting. I don't know why they were all over this in the presentation. What do they have to do with this? I didn't really get it.
Clock Tower was the start of a whole segment of these retro games being remade in what Limited Run has in the Carbon engine. I'm not entirely positive on all the details of that. I know they've used it for a few things already, like the Shantae GB Game Boy Color remake and port really onto modern consoles, and I'm pretty sure what's called River City Girls Zero also used this. I'll play it and tell you how it works, but I mean it's competent. It's a very handy engine, and I'm sure
So Way Forward built this engine? Is that what's happening?
No, a guy from Australia built this engine, and Way Forward bought it, and Embracer bought Limited Run mostly for this engine.
Oh boy. Okay, I guess. I mean,
they think it's valuable. They think it is hot shit.
Clock Tower is kind of a technical marvel, and the music is incredible. Whatever. I just don't like hide and seek horror games. That's just not my kind of thing. So I've just never really been into Clock Tower. I don't know, even stuff like Alien Isolation, even anything where you have to do hide and seek, no thank you. Resident Evil 7, no thank you.
Andre, you know me. I see the Super Nintendo game I haven't played, and I go, yeah, just send it to my house.
Enjoy. Everyone's about to find out that the Gex trilogy is just okay. And also they might also have to include one of those Warner Brothers warnings up front on these, because let me tell you what.
Oh my god!
I had the original Gex on PS1. Obviously, it's a 3DO port, and the Asian jokes in that game made me cringe at the time. I can't imagine those are even remotely okay now. So I don't know. And I'm sure the other games have some questionable stuff too. So we'll see, right? But
I played Enter the Gecko on Game Boy Color when I was a kid, and I don't remember it having anything offensive.
Oh my god!
They didn't just stop the action with a full blown portrait of Gex with chopsticks saying something offensive.
Yeah.
On Game Boy Color,
Not that I recall.
They didn't break out into "We Are Siamese, If You Please" from Aristocats. Oh man. They're also, I assume, in this Carbon engine, they're also putting out Tomba, which I'm sorry, I know I'm always the contrarian around here. I don't get Tomba. I don't think this game is that good. People swear by this game. I remember I got it on PS1 Classics via Vita many, many years ago. And I'm like, oh, Tomba's up. I always wanted to try that. People talk, what? This isn't that good. Whatever, I guess.
I never played Tomba. And every time I think I did play Tomba, I'm reminded I played a demo disc of Rascal at somebody's house however many years ago.
So you don't even care. You don't even give a shit.
No, here's the thing.
Rascal.
No, here's the thing. I want to play all these games that were revealed. Even the Jurassic Park collection, which I'm sure is going to be a turd fest, but I want to play.
I played the Genesis one because my friend had it, and I really didn't think it was that good. And that's the only one I've ever played. So
I tried the Genesis and Super Nintendo ones in recent years, and they were both sucky.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird that this is the era where they made like completely different games for every system sometimes. So I guess that's why they're all here. But like, yeah, no thanks. Yeah, those are the things that stuck out to me, Steve. Real quick, if you wanna run through some of yours, what really stuck out to you here? This is a pretty good presentation.
Yeah, I thought so, and I'm going to cheat a little bit here because this was technically announced the day before. The Making of Karateka. Digital Eclipse announced this as part one of a series of playable documentaries. The rest of them, they don't have any other ones, just this one so far. And given their other recent work, like, the SNK collection and Turtles, I'm here for it. 4 versions of the game and how they tick and being able to watch the videos and just being able to jump in at any time. I'm here for that, even though I don't remember actually liking any version of Karateka. I'll pick that up. I don't know if I'll buy the limited run version, but I'll pick this up.
Do you want to know something embarrassing? Watching this entire presentation, I didn't pick up until right when you just said Karateka that karate is built into the title of the game.
Me too. Didn't even think about it.
Okay, good.
There's Karateka, Karateka. They said it all the ways because I'm like, how do they say it? They'll finally have to tell me how to say it. And they said it all the ways. I'm like, fuck you guys. Speaking of things that don't, may or may not work out so well, Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore. This was apparently spun off from a guy named Seth Fulkerson's attempt to fix the Zelda CDI games. So you really can't miss what's going on. You got painted on scenery with Zelda 2-esque action with bad cutscenes and cheesy voice acting, and I really want this to be good.
I want this to be good too. There's a definite potential for this to be, and it's hard to get a sense if it's going to play shitty from the trailer. It's like it could be really cool if they can copy that aesthetic and actually make it play really good. They could have something really special here, but it's definitely got a chance to turn out to be a turd.
Something I'm more sure will probably be a turd is another Crusade. This was a Kickstarter favorite during pandemic times because they were going right for the Super Mario RPG feels with isometrics and the battle system with the buttons. I mean, I'm sure it could enjoy some extra attention with the full-ass remake of the real Mario RPG coming in the fall, but if it really looks this stiff as, its inspiration like Andre thinks it is, I don't know, maybe not.
I just want to say, when I was looking through the presentation again just to remind myself of a couple things before we started talking about this, on that break for this game, it actually was labeled as Super Mario RPG. It wasn't labeled as another Crusade. It said Super Mario RPG.
No.
I don't know if someone was just trying to be funny or what, but like it really did say that. I was like, what the hell is going on? Well, whatever.
I like the concept of somebody trying to do something like Super Mario RPG, but I don't think this is it. It looked pretty cheap and soulless, given that it's supposed to be coming out in a few months.
One last thing. I just want it to be, I don't know. I just want it to be playable. The Rose and Camellia collection. I did some internet research. This was a series of Flash games in 2007 or so. Everyone had to start somewhere, and this looks dumb enough to be fun. There was the Pride and Prejudice High Society lady slapping game that was in the presentation.
I remember it. Yeah.
I just want this to be good too. Remember, maybe Andre probably should more than Kevin, or Kevin probably will too, since he goes to Goodwill all the time. You remember those giant VHS clamshell cases that they used for prestige TV or even anime?
Oh yeah.
If they make a limited version edition of that, and that's the box, but for this, I might have to bite on that. And it's, for fancy ladies slap it. I don't know. Please be good.
I was upset when my anime came in just like the little like cardboard jacket that you slide out from the bottom. Fuck that. I want the clamshell. That was the shit.
I mean, that's about it for me. I mean, stuff to look forward to. And I mean, that's what Limit Run is. They're like, okay, here's things you wanted a physical of, but we're going to put them out now. You know how they do. It was fine.
It was good. It was more than fine. I thought it was pretty good. You know, despite being very full of way forward.
I liked the concept of the presentation when they were doing, 1995 E3. I really liked when he name dropped the CDI and somebody in the audience was like, "Woo!"
Kevin, you don't remember back in 1995 when the guy in the hat announced Castlevania Advance Collection coming for systems that wouldn't be announced for another 30 years?
I must have been too young at the time. I'm sure you guys remember.
I absolutely remember. I was there. I founded the company, limited run. Okay, let's talk about this. So, Xbox Live Gold is becoming Xbox Game Pass Core for some reason. The price is going to remain the same, $60 a year. And this tier is going to have access to, I guess, about 25 Game Pass games. I guess like some top tier shit, probably like a Halo Infinite, I would assume, or just, like top games, right? That they want to push. But this also means that games with gold, basically their PlayStation Plus monthly game equivalent, is going away completely. So that's not going to be a thing anymore. Can you keep your old ones, I wonder? I don't know.
You have to. People would fucking lose it if you couldn't.
I dug through a number of tweets because heaven forbid they update the actual website and they just, instead of just throwing a bunch of tweets around. And yes, everything you remember to redeem, you get to keep.
Okay. Interesting.
Do you know why they did this? If you may remember on our previous creative endeavor about 3 years ago, I was talking about the Game Pass conversion trick where you can pay for 3 years of Xbox Live Gold and then convert it for free all to Game Pass. And I just did that a couple of months ago and got 3 more years. I'm pretty sure that they're sick and tired of giving me cheap ass Game Pass. So I'm good up until 2026.
Wow. That is so fucking cheap. I love it.
Yeah.
That is the cheapest
that's
thing
definitely
you do.
gone.
Yeah, there's no way.
Oh no, I do much cheaper things than that. We all know it.
Okay, one other note. This is the first time I'm hearing Xbox Game Pass Core said out loud. I'm just imagining the same thing in mid 2003 with an ill-advised campaign where it's in graffiti and no one actually knows what it does.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why this reminded me of this, and this has nothing to do with anything. Remember when it was rumored that Nintendo was going to have an internet thing for GameCube called Star Road? Do you remember that? Does anyone remember this rumor except me?
I don't remember the Star Road Monkeyer.
Yeah.
I remember in particular that Mario Golf and Mario Tennis were both going to be online and called World Tour, denoting an online mode that you were going to use the modems for, but I don't remember Star Road. I'd remember Star Road.
Yeah, Star Road. I was like, oh, really? They're going to do that? It's like, okay. I didn't really put much stock in that because back then Nintendo was a lot more airtight than it is now, where like every Nintendo rumor we hear now is true. So, yeah, you're right, though, about Xbox Game Pass Core. That's the first time I actually read it out loud, too. And I was like, that doesn't feel right in the mouth. But okay, though this is actually a better deal, right? Depending on how you feel about games with gold. Doesn't this feel like, for me, it feels like bad optics to just shove people into having Game Pass. It just feels like now you have no choice. You have Game Pass, bitches. Like, instead of trying to onboard people to it, now it's just like, this is your only option, even though it costs the same as before. I don't know. Am I the only... Steve, is this like bad... I don't know. There's something about it that feels a little icky.
I don't know if it's bad. I think this is just another step away from Xbox and another step toward Game Pass. Because between Spencer's ramblings the other month and other fan-invented crises like Forza requires online all the time and Starfield's not coming with a disc. It's really feeling like they're peeling off that Xbox Band-Aid real slowly. And gradually until we start seeing less Xbox and more Game Pass being what Microsoft Games is.
Well, we're gonna in 2028 we're gonna buy a Game Pass X or something as our new console or something.
I mean, they'll still sell Xbox, but it's gonna be more emphasis on Game Pass.
I want to explore Andre's feelings a little deeper. What do you think? What do you find? What makes it have a negative connotation in your mind for them to brand this as Game Pass? Why do you feel like that's greasy?
It feels almost like giving somebody something that they don't necessarily want. Like if someone doesn't really want Game Pass, they may or may not care about games with gold, right? And again, even though it's the same price, and overall it is a better deal, I don't think people really cared, especially in recent years, about what was coming out on games with gold, So I don't think that's really that big of a loss. See, I wish I could explain it better. It just feels like, okay, maybe this is a good comp. Like I have an iPad and I have an iPhone. I'm in the Apple ecosystem, right? I have what is known as iTunes Match, where they match the music in my iTunes library to whatever they have on the store, and I can just listen to it because those are like my old CD rips from years and years and years ago, right? So I don't have to have Apple Music. I just pay for Match. And it's there. And if it's not there, they'll upload whatever music I have that doesn't have an equivalent in the store to the cloud. So all my music's in the cloud, right? That I purchased or whatever, or whether CD or on iTunes or whatever. If they tried to force me into having Apple Music Core or something like that, I really feel like that would be not cool. I would not like that. I don't fucking want Apple Music. One, I have Tidal, which is better. So if I want to stream music, I use that. You know what I'm trying to say? I know that's not an apples to apples comparison. I just
okay. So on the flip side, let's talk about when they introduced PlayStation Plus Royale with cheese, right? Because functionally, I know it's somewhat the opposite because they're introducing the premium service but they're you're still on the PlayStation Plus core if you don't proactively go in and upgrade your service. Is there any issues with that? Okay, now you just have the cheaper version of PlayStation Plus. Is that equivalent to what they're now taking gold and branding it under Game Pass?
Yeah, but PlayStation Plus didn't change at all. You still get the exact same benefits for your exact same price and whatever. And it was still called that. And then they built off of that, right? PlayStation Premium, PlayStation Royale with cheese, or whatever the fuck they're called, right? Extra, I think. God, we've been calling them cheese for so long. I actually forgot they were called. It just built off the name PlayStation Plus. If they had, I understand saying Xbox Live Platinum and Xbox Live Silver and Xbox, that's a lot more confusing because you don't really tell the customer what they're getting. But Game Pass, I don't know. Maybe I'm just making a fuss out of nothing. It just feels kind of
Okay, I'm going to try and ask this in the least inflammatory way possible because that's not what I'm trying to do. It does the way you feel come from intrinsic bias against Xbox?
I don't think so. Maybe. Well, look, maybe because I just think the whole naming scheme of everything they do is bad. So maybe that's part of it. I guess
that's probably fair because the whole Series X.
Yeah.
That
Kevin, they skipped 358 other systems before they got to 360.
And then they went back to one.
Yeah, you are right. They're not the masters of naming conventions.
Like Mortal 1 Combat. Okay, well, that's kind of about it for questions. Not a whole lot. Oh, you know what? Actually, I read something yesterday. Maybe today before I fell asleep, if you want to get technical. CD Projekt Red is laying off 100 people. You guys see this? It's 10% of the workforce.
I did not see that, but it must be because everybody unfairly criticized Cyberpunk when it was first announced and dragged them through the mud when they shouldn't have been.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is strange. I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it other than that's interesting, I guess.
I feel like since Cyberpunk, like I'm not going to ever look at CD Projekt Red in a overly favorable light again.
Yeah,
they were riding high in like Witcher 3 days.
They sure were. I don't know.
They're like a jog past their prime. They're still living off of Witcher 3 days. It's been a decade, and they're like, "Hey guys, remember my time when I made Witcher 3? Yes, we know you did Witcher 3."
The jog past their prime comparison, super apt.
It's like some guy who just hit, some clutch grand slam in the playoffs like that one time, and otherwise he was like a shitty player. And it's just like, oh, you'll always be remembered for that time we won the World Series, even though, like, been stealing money for 11 years. But,
you worked hard for like 1 year, guy, and then you got a pot belly.
Hey, have you seen baseball player? The pot belly is no problem. You can do that. Like I could get on the field right now and squeeze myself into a uniform and get on that mound. I'm telling you.
Oh, I'm sure I could get to the mound. I just feel like by the time I got to second base, I would be very out of breath.
Okay. How about this? Okay. How long you're at the plate? Okay. You're batting. How long do you think you could be up there before everyone discovers you're not a baseball player? Would you just like not even pretend to swing the bat where it's like, what's wrong with this guy? Or would you just like hold it in a weird, you know what I mean? Like, do you think you could get away with it?
I played baseball when I was a kid for like 6 years. I could hold the bat correctly, but I don't think I've ever got into like slightly crowding batting position since I've probably since like well over 100 pounds ago. Okay. So I think by the time I like crouched down and tried to get like my very restricted range of motion shoulders back, then that's when they'd be like, okay, buddy, take a seat.
You get pinch hit for in the middle of a count.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if I swing the bat or not. I got to go home.
Somewhere between being blinded by the sun and my back giving out from also trying to do the stance correctly, they'd find me out pretty quickly.
As soon as Steven got up to the plate and he started singing "I Saw the Sun" and it burned out both my eyes, even though he's illegitimate.
We'll be right back with Place Your Bets.
Fine time.
We are back, motherfuckers. It's been a while since I sang motherfuckers. Motherfuckers. Nobody else wants to try?
That was like cereal commercial.
I felt a little Jetsons-y. Motherfuckers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't look at me that way, Steve.
I don't know if he's frozen or he's really looking at you that way.
No, I saw him blink. I saw him blink.
He's teaching you a lesson.
Yeah. Don't admonish me with your stare. Actually, speaking of admonishment, I want you to admonish Way Forward because we've been talking about them. And for a number of weeks now, you have alluded to not being happy with something in Advance Wars ReBoot Camp. So out with it. Show us on the doll where Way Forward touched you. We need to know.
Okay. So we all remember me being having a bit of a mixed bag with the first part of the Advance Wars ReBoot Camp game. Yes, some things look nice. The actual game doesn't. Blah, blah, blah. Music good. voice acting incomplete, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then I finished the first game. Okay. Hooray. Let's move on to game 2. Maybe I can even finish it before Tears of the Kingdom comes out. It starts out more of the same. Okay, I get it. The music's still pretty jamming, and the voice samples, well, incomplete. But it's getting the point across. Okay, we're all having fun so far. But then the seams just start coming apart. Like, okay, in the first game, okay, where you're playing in a literal sandbox, so everything starts looking out okay. But then 2 starts having some more outstanding set pieces, in a word for their levels, like giant factories and whatever, and they don't look right.
They look bad, or they just look like amateurish or something, or what? Like,
I mean, they looked fine on Advance Wars 2, Black Hole Rising in 2003, because they did that square by square on the GBA back in the day. So it actually looked really good when you saw the big ass factory and the Doom Fortress and the big ass volcano. But none of these things look right in the actual game. And then the further along I got in the game, I figured I could just push along through it. I'm like, okay, I can just complain about this on my game thread when I get through the other side. But like I said, they pretty much just traced over the work Intelligent Systems did in the first place without any real supervision. So, and not very well. So it's all really coming apart, and it's getting kind of sloppy, and it's just as hard as it was 20-ish years ago. And I can keep up with that to a degree, but it's really hard starting those maps again and again, and to stare at these giant things that don't quite fit again and again. And I'm like, okay, I just can't.
Are you saying that like they tried to make like a 3D model of a volcano or whatever, and it looks like shit or whatever? Or like,
I mean, I guess it could look okay, but it didn't work with the sandbox aesthetic thing they were going for in the first place. Like, I don't know if they built themselves an Advance Wars map maker thing to do all the work, because I don't even think that was an asset you can use in the map maker back in the day, but it doesn't look right. And okay, I know the frame wasn't that good anyway, but I'm already fast forwarding through most of it half the time. So I'm 30x years old. Let's get through the game already.
That's the reason.
Well, I already did this 20 years ago.
Your time is running out more and more every day.
Well, and that's what I'm feeling with this, because and it's not just WayForward's fault. Everyone, I feel like it's okay to let some Intelligent Systems people to be like, hey, maybe this doesn't need to suck so much, and they didn't.
Imagine that on company letterhead. Guys, this sucks a little too much. Can we tone down the suck? I don't like this.
Because there's just so many, like I said before, there's a lot of things that worked, and then more unique parts of 2's campaign that you start noticing the other bad things that didn't necessarily hold up about Advance Wars in the first place. I'm like, you know what? I don't. Who am I proving this to? We don't even have an online leaderboard. I'm out.
What, like least number of turns you beat this map or something like that? Or like,
well, it's like I said before, there's technically an online mode where I could play with other people, but they have to be my friends. I can't just randomly match up. It'd be great if they had like 2 of the commanding officers be like the MCs in Splatoon and say, okay, soldiers, these are the maps we're fighting on today.
Do they feel like people will rage quit? Like, oh, you suck my battleship, I'm out of here or something? I don't know. Like,
then make it an automatic win for whoever's still standing there.
Yes, of course. But
it's just too bad your friends here are too goddamn stupid to play Advance Wars online.
I think that was the real dig, actually.
No, the real dig was there was a lot of real things they could have did with this game, and they didn't. And it just became more apparent as I went along.
Okay. Well, fuck WayForward, so that's good. So, okay, Kevin, we are back. It has been another quarter and change. We are a little late for this, but it is time for...
What are you buying?
Oh, yeah, what are you buying? That's right. I forgot what the words were.
Yeah, well, I know we're also listening to this funky ass music, right?
Oh yeah, hold on. Let me turn that up. Like that?
Oh, even better, louder. So it's like an orgasm for the ears.
All right. Catch us. So let's
right.
catch up. Let's catch up on our current bets before we make new ones.
Well, you always want to catch up on our current bets because you're sitting at well over anybody with 1550.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that's why I was like, well, make sure you let everybody know how much money we each got. Steve has $200 and is about to have less. Spoiler alert. I have $975. So also, unfortunately, our next round of bets that recently resolved were all designed around quote unquote E3 2023. So I think our chances of being successful here are a little bit lower, but I'm sure we can massage this to the gradual E3 2023 season that we had.
Okay.
Steve had Super Switch is officially now announced by the end of E3 2023, which he put $150 on at 2-1 odds.
Oh my God.
So Steve takes a big old L there and is now sitting at $50.
Man.
Andre got Microsoft announces a new Gears of War title at E3 2023, which we said could really be a new Gears of War title, mainline or not.
Mm-hmm.
No
They
Gears
did
of
not.
War, but he dropped $300 on that at 3-1 odds, which that was probably that wasn't a bad bet. Really,
I don't regret it.
You could have made bank there.
I don't
but
regret it.
Also an L. You guys split out my bets a little bit. So we had two categories. Number one, Elder Scrolls 6 footage of some sort, whether it just be pre-rendered video, whatever is shown at E3 2023. I put $100 on that at 3-1 odds. Big L there. And
Wow.
then you guys also gave me 5-1 odds for Elder Scrolls 6 gameplay of some sort is showing at E3 2023, which we knew was a stretch. But at 5-1 odds, I dropped $25 on there just in case, which is gone.
Man, we're all losers this time. This is the first time that happened.
Yeah, it's not. There's a lot of red on the list here lately. Now, just a little reminder, end of September, the current bets we have that'll be resolving at that point. Steve did not put any money on Dragon Quest 12 being announced by the end of September.
Oh, smart.
Andre put $50 on the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard is actually successfully blocked, which is not looking very good at this point.
No, I guess there's still a chance, but
yeah, I
but
think
it's not looking good. Yeah,
Looks
in
like
recent
they're hugging
weeks,
it
it
up.
seems like it's a
hugging it
stretch.
out at this point.
Yeah. And then I had in a bid to increase PSVR 2 interest, Sony manages to lock down rights to Half-Life Alyx PSVR port.
I still think that has a good chance of happening.
I wish this wasn't, maybe September is, I feel like that still has a chance of happening after September, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay.
So new bets for this round. We're doing something a little bit different. We've dabbled in this before, but this week, everybody is betting on upcoming games' Metacritic scores. So I've each picked out a specific game and where it's going to land with Metacritic. And that's how your bets are going to be based around. So Steve, now I think before we do bets, actually, we also need to, so Steve has $50. Is Steve allowed to bet more than the $50 he has to get into the red? And what do we do in that case?
I say yeah.
Should we make a penalty for Steve if he gets more than like negative 500? What is he? We should make him play a really shitty video game.
Yeah, there should be a punishment.
Yeah.
We can worry about that when he gets down there. But yes,
Okay.
I do believe.
Let's-
However, we should play it like Jeopardy. Like you can be negative on Jeopardy, right? You know, so like,
yeah, but if once you get to the negative, you can't play Final Jeopardy with negative money. You
no,
gotta
you
have
cannot.
some money.
No, you cannot.
Which I mean, so I think either for Steve, we'll let him have negative money, but we'll set a threshold, and if he goes that, either he has to play a shitty video game or we break his fucking legs. Okay?
One of the two. Or well, see,
so-
look, he may not. Well, let's see what his bet is because he may not want to bet more than $50. So we'll see.
Or maybe he'll be like, I'm going to put $500 on that right now.
All right, we'll see.
Okay, so Steve. Now, I do think all of these are maybe a little bit of a stretch for the sake of betting. Steve got Lies of P scores over 92% on Metacritic.
Ooh, that's
for 2 to
good.
1 odds.
92 is high.
Yeah, 92 is high. But like, it seemed to me like Lies of P was really like a critical darling at Fake E3 season, other than on Fine Time. In other places, it went over very well.
Oh man, 92 is a lot.
92 is incredibly high. I'm not taking that.
All right,
$0.
$0.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
$0.
Interesting.
Okay, so we're gonna set Steve to an automatic draw. Andre, Batten Kaitos 1 and 2 remaster scores under 60% on Metacritic, and we know that seems like it's having some problems. How bad are the problems going to be, right? Because I think they already confirmed it's going to be running at 30 FPS.
Then what was that footage that we saw?
But I think after did they not clarify and said it will be at 30 FPS?
Then why did
I'm
we?
assuming that was just running on development tools. Oh, and I think they said, which I don't know if this is necessarily looked at as a negative for a lot of people, but there's not going to be the English voice dub.
Well,
this, right?
That's
Life goes
fine.
on.
That's fine because the original dub is terrible. So I'm not going to miss it. Also, it was recorded really badly. Everyone sounds like they're coming from a tin can. So it sounds bad and it is bad. So it's just like, forget it, you know, and I understand. They probably didn't want to try to clean it up. Yeah.
So you're getting 2 to 1 odds as well for under 60%.
You know, and RPG re-releases recently have had some issues, you know, so, you know, with Chrono Cross and whatever, and those were
Tales of Symphonia.
Tales of Symphonia, yeah. And that was Namco, no less. So, man.
Do we want to check and see what Tales of Symphonia got on Metacritic?
Yeah, go ahead and look. I don't think this will sway I'm leaning towards betting on this.
Tales of Symphonia Remastered on Switch is sitting at 63 on Metacritic.
Yeah, see? Okay, I'm going to bet on this. Okay, I will take it. I just don't know how much. What are the odds again?
2 to 1.
Let's throw in above 60. I'm going to say
under 60.
Under 60. I don't have a whole fuck of a lot of faith. Let's just say $50. I'll be conservative on this one.
$50?
I don't feel like crazy good about it.
Okay.
But like that Symphonia 63 makes me feel, oh, man.
Right. Yeah.
I want to ask Namco what happened in that direct. Why we sold it at 60 frames a second. Someone
ask
fucked
him
up.
on your way to work tomorrow.
Someone fucked up.
Do a phone a friend. Get Namco on the phone right now. Be like, what's going on here?
I'll call Namco Home Tech in the US. And
we are phoning from Fine Time. Do you know who I am?
Don't you know who I am, bitch? We're playing Place Your Bets. I can't believe you've never listened to our show.
All right, so you guys always get to select the odds for my bets, but I gave you both 2 to 1, and I structured these all kind of around the same principle. I gave myself Sea of Stars scores over 90% on Metacritic, which I think is doable for sure.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Far
Steve.
from guaranteed.
Well, just to start there, I don't think that's going to happen. So what do you think? And then we can set a number from there.
It's plausible, but not likely.
Yeah. So I want to give them fairly high odds on that because I would be willing to say like 4 to 1.
4 to 1 sounds good.
Yeah, because I don't really see it.
Ooh.
Okay,
See, I have $850. I'm pretty tempted to like 4-1 odds. I'm gonna put $200 on that.
Ooh, saucy.
I'm not convinced it's gonna happen, but I'm sure not convinced it ain't.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I see it like a high 80s, I think. I don't think I see 90.
Man, just those shadows that they had in that demo.
They were nice. They were very nice.
That's worth bumping up that Metacritic score. A few
and we're all gonna get to play it for free with Royale with cheese. Yay!
Yeah, see, I just realized that the other day. I thought it was just going to be on Game Pass, but yeah, I guess it's on Royale with cheese too.
Well, they only said it the other day, so
it does make me wonder. It's actually, I was thinking about this just maybe as a little quick side question, because that game was definitely a heavy like backer funded game. Is there? I don't know how to like. Is there reason for backers to be offended after the fact that all of a sudden they're putting it on like both the prominent services, or is that?
I don't think so. Especially since, like, if you're a backer, you're paying for, like, a physical thing. You're paying for, like, other things. So, like, maybe if you're just paying for a digital copy, sure. But you also wanted to ensure the game got completed. It wasn't just about getting the game. That's how I would feel.
And we've already established through however many other of these crowdfunded games that there's always outside funding.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah, that's true.
I am sure Microsoft and Sony, like, so we'll give you this much money to put it on the thing.
I was just curious. I don't know. I haven't seen any uproar, but that's something I wouldn't be surprised to see, like people, whining, hey, I put $50 on this and I could have just got it on the service I'm already paying for.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. Like I said, even if I were the type to just pay for a physical copy, like I backed Bloodstained, and I got that in the mail. I got a physical copy. Same for Shenmue 3. But like I said, even if I just did digital, fuck it. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It got made and there's your copy.
Yeah, that's all I cared about, that it got made.
I suppose also if you are that interested in it to back it, you're probably going to want to ensure that you have it indefinitely, whether you subscribe to a service or not.
Mm-hmm. Because once that goes away, you have your real ass, quote unquote, you paid for it physical copy forever.
I mean, everyone's favorite digital game from last summer, Stray, is gone.
Yeah, you
have to pay for that now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, there we go for place your bets. We'll touch base in I guess the start of October and see where we're at.
Okay, then we'll see. All right, we're about to wrap up now, but I don't know. We got any random Kevin? Well, let's do a random. Hit us with something.
A random question. Okay, I don't think we've ever talked about this on the show before. Surprisingly, do you guys, whether it could have realistically happened in terms of age of game or not, do you have any games that you really wish that you could have had a specific that you could have had DLC for that you never got?
Interesting. I think the easy answer for me is Super Mario Odyssey. I feel like they could have built that out with like another mini quest, maybe give you like 5 or so more worlds, because we know they had them. And people always assert that there was gonna be an Isle Delfino because it was on the map in like beta versions. You could see the dolphin or whatever on like the world map. So maybe they built that out, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But I mean, obviously that could have been a thing. Not that I wanted to traverse like old Mario worlds necessarily. I wanted the original stuff, But I don't know. Maybe that's my answer.
I guess we kind of got Bowser's Fury, which is definitely not a 1-for-1 thing, but that was, it scratched the itch, I would say.
I have not played that yet, and I would like to. I do have it, and I have not played it. So.
What about you, Steve?
In a few weeks, I might be muttering that about Pikmin 4. We'll see. But
quick preview before we talk about that next week. How do you feel so far in a couple words?
I like it, but I don't know if I'm getting older or if I'm just too good at these games, because I'm just so good at strategy and multitasking, but it feels a little easy.
Pikmin 3 was really easy, I thought.
Well, I don't know if it's that easy yet. We'll see. I'm not too far along. Anyway, I'm trying to think of something else on the fly, but new Pokemon Snap.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. I haven't finished that game yet, oddly, somehow, but I figured for sure we were going to get the $30 DLC pack of here's a few more big ass maps for you guys to roll around in with all these fun new Pokemon to take pictures of, and we did not get that.
That's so weird.
Seemed like it would have been a shoo-in, and it was sold pretty well,
but not for a Pokemon game. That's where you get.
I guess.
Oh, you only sold 4 million copies. Big deal.
I'm still a little, and this is probably the top answer about if you Google online of games people are pissed off didn't get DLC, but I really wanted DLC for GTA 5 that was single player, and it was rumored for years, and everybody's saying, the voice actors were recording lines and they were talking about it and this and that, and I truly believe that they were probably well down the road with single player DLC for that just got squashed so that they could continue to pimp out online, which is I really would have liked that.
I totally believe that was the case as well. Totally believe it.
Maybe someday it'll come out of a vault on a GTA Classics collection in 2040.
We'll have to see it in the Nintendo Giga League 2. We'll see the.
That's right.
Well, they're planned a Switch version of GTA 5 that has that DLC.
The Super Switch.
Oh no, guys, no. Bad. No Super Switch, and definitely no Super Switch. For fuck's sake. Did you guys see that really shitty Switch 2 mock-up box that someone made with the Joy-Cons inside of bigger Joy-Cons, and then
no.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. And then the game screen just had all Switch games anyway. So I'm like, well, why is the Switch 2? These aren't even original games. These are just the games we've already been playing.
Oh no, Andre, these are Switch 2 ports. That's the difference.
Okay. Okay.
They're still porting everything up from the Wii U, god damn it.
Well, Xenoblade Chronicles X at 120 frames a second. That's exactly what I want on Switch 2.
Actually, it probably is exactly what you want on Switch 2.
From what I've seen of that game, it's very confusing. I don't know. I would play it though. Okay, I guess we can get the fuck out of here. That's about it. This is usually the part where I say, look in the description of this podcast to join us on social media. I'm going to stop using Twitter because Elon Musk is a fuckboy. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll have some social media links. Still go to Find Time Podcast, though, on Twitter. I will still maintain that account, no matter what. And you can go there to get more information on the show. Until then, see you next time. Bye.
We'll see you next time on Fine Time.